So we can end the video right here and show you guys this assembled truck right here. Bam! What is up, RC enthusiasts? Well, here you go. Here's the build video. It should be pretty simple for this build. Well, this one right here is going to be your Hilux one right here with the honcho tail end with portal axles that upon inspection already have cracks on them as well. But this one has metal drive shafts, and I wish it had the 2-speed in it, but I'm probably going to put that in the future. But for now, we're going to run it with this original single speed right here, the plastic gearbox still, and we'll see how that runs with these axles, because these even lower the speed more, and that's already slow enough as it is. So we'll see how this all works out. This is how the kit came, and this is how I'm going to assemble it. So let's get to it. So most of the stuff we need to put this chassis together is in this bag right here. So we're going to rip this bag open, rip the bag of screws open. We'll put the shocks together first, put that on the chassis, and then put these guys on. So with the shock assembly, I like to grab one of these shafts right here, just toss it into one of these shock bodies, get a screwdriver, get the end, screw that in. I like to leave a couple of the treads showing, maybe like 2 or 3 of them showing right there. Just gives you a little bit of a lift, you know, free lift right there. Now on the spring, I like to spray it with some penetrating oil before I put it in here. It just helps it from rusting when you go in water and stuff. And then the shock cap right here. That's what goes on top right there, and that builds that shock. And that's it. I'll build all 4 and we'll put them on the chassis. Let's go ahead and get these on here. For the front one, you're going to want to screw it into these holes right here. And the reason they want you to do it first is because the screw goes on the inside like so. And remember, when you screw these in, you're not screwing them in too tight. That's what happens when you use the wrong size screwdriver. See how they still have play when I install them? That's what you want. I mean, you can tighten them as much as you want, so there's very little play, but you just want them to be able to move around freely. It just makes the suspension work better on these guys. You know, these things are not the most precise things, but they sure are some of the most fun things I play with. And don't forget, when you're matching up your chassis, to hold the rails beside each other so you make sure to screw them in correctly. So now we can go ahead and assemble the chassis. I like to put this front one on first, and like I said, that little hole right there goes towards the front. And this is the front right here, and the back is the one with the 3 little holes there together. So that just goes on like so, and the 2 holes screw into there. Oh, this thing might need a charge, eh? And then you have this little support back here. The screw goes in here from the bottom, so that goes to the bottom, and this hollow part faces the top. And it goes in here, and I like to screw in 2 screws on each side right here. Now with this one, since we're using a single speed, or the original single speed that comes with these kits, since way back when, 2 years ago when I started this, or 3 years ago I think. Yeah, so you can just install this piece first without having to worry to actually put the gearbox in there, because you can put that in separately afterwards. So just line up the 3 screw holes right there with the 3 holes you have right here, and that just goes on like so. So you're going to use these 2 screws for now. Leave this one open because that's going to go to the body. That's going to attach the body to it later. Now you just have to put this side on. Smash it on there on that side and screw all the same screws in place, and you'll have your chassis assembled. And we'll get on to put the axles down here so we can hold this whole chassis up. And we're gonna hook up these links to these axles with these included plastic trusses. I wish they included metal ones, but the plastic ones work if you take care of them and don't, you know, drop them from like 6 feet and stuff. And they usually don't break that easily, but I've had them break before. Maybe a total of twice now, so not too much in the 3 years I've been doing WPL stuff that I've broken these. But then again, I don't play as hard with these things as some people do. I try to be as scale as possible and catch them when they tumble and stuff. But anyway, let's get to this. See that little brass bushing slash bearing? It's right there. These things are good for running in water and stuff because, you know, They're less maintenance. Yeah, pretty good. This one feels a little smoother than the other ones I bought. But like the other ones I bought, oh, the axles are already talking. You see that right there? That split right there? Can you guys see that? These trusses have to be installed facing this way on both of them. And you're going to use these long screws. Alright, now that we got those installed on there, so you notice right there I used some different kind of screws because these ones right here gave me a little bit of a challenge. The rest I didn't have to struggle with. So I went the easy route for that, cheater mode. So now we're going to install these guys on there. Then the ones that are less bent, they go on the bottom like so. And the ones that are bent in more, they go up here and just screw in with the same screws that we've been using so far. But don't worry about these ones for now, just screw in the top ones for now. Then you'll go to do this when you grab the frame. This needs to go on here, then the screw goes on the tip right here after the suspension goes on to this part. So I'll go ahead and screw these top ones on first, and then we'll start getting these axles on the frame. And remember, just tight enough so that you still have free movement and this thing just can fall on its own weight. And a little tip I like to give people when you're screwing stuff into all this, because this plastic truss is very delicate while building, but runs pretty good when you're actually running it. When you're screwing stuff in like this screw right here, or the suspension and this arm, just, you know, support it from behind right here where you're screwing into, so that way you're not flexing this and cracking this. So you just support back here. So just put your finger back here while screwing that in, and that should help support that piece. So that way you can assemble it correctly and not break it during your assembly process and be frustrated because now you have a broken truck that you didn't even fully assemble yet. As you can tell right here, there's a little design flaw. The C-hub touches the link right here. So this actual linkage is binding on the C-hub, as you can tell. But when it's assembled all the way in and moving, it seems to still move pretty freely, but you know, it'll wear itself in, I guess, by wearing out those plastic pieces. But that's definitely a design flaw for sure. Let's, you know, like I said, I'm going to run it the way it was intended, so I'm going to build it this way, then possibly maybe shave some plastic back here behind this linkage, or not the C-hub because that's already weak as it is, so you can tell it's broken already. But yeah, go ahead and run it this way for now and see how that goes. Alright, so now we're going to install the links. So the top ones right here, the ones that are installed on the top of the truss, those go to the top ones up here, right there. And the bottom ones, those go to the bottom right there. So that's how they install, like so. And two of those same screws you've been using for everything so far on the chassis. And remember, don't tighten those all the way. You want them to be free and move around. And there you go. The whole rear end links are assembled. And everything moves up freely. And now the front ones. Well, there we go. All the suspension links assembled, suspension. Let's just install the drive shafts onto here, because it's pretty simple with this one, because they give it to you assembled just like they did the axle. So this is like the easiest kit really. It's not really a full kit build, it's more like a assembly. Here are your axles. They do not look like WPL ones at all. So Rbrc and WPL do make different ones, that's for sure. And you're gonna have a flat side on here, and that's where the grub screw's just gonna go onto right here. Their own axles don't fit. Oh, they do. It's just a very tight fit. There you go. And then the grub screw in there, and then you'll be good. And this one goes to the transmission side, and then you can wait till you get the transmission in there to put that on. In this kit, they did not include any, so you're gonna have to use your own. I recommend the blue thread lock. Just get that on here, like a little dab on the grub screw, and then screw it on. And then tighten it, and then onto this one right here, and then we'll go ahead and drop the transmission in here just to complete this whole bottom half. All right, so these Rbrc axles or drive shafts right here, there's a burr in there when they drilled out and tapped this screw hole right here. That's sticking out right there, so I'm pretty sure you can see that little shiny piece inside there. Yeah, that's sticking out right there, so I can't shove it in there. I'm gonna have to drill that out real quick. So yeah, I'll be back with that one. Yeah, this thing is out of batteries, guys. My helping hand is no more. Oh, that should be loose all the way already, right? Oh, ow. My hand went swinging straight into another fixture. That hurt. For now, this is going to slide in here. And you're going to have the 2 screws right there, which is just the regular screws you've been using already. All right, now that we have the motor screwed in there securely, now we're going to put the drive shafts on there. Attach those to the motor. I had to remove one of the links right here, if you guys can tell, just so I can get this on there. There you go. Now we can put this link back on. So yeah, just note to yourself, if you're going to get any of these, you're going to have some little burrs in there. You get to file it out somehow with a little screwdriver or something that fits in there. And you should be good after that. So I'm spinning the drive shafts right now, just trying to make sure that all my tire rotation is the same. They're both going this way or towards the back. So tire rotation is good. Now I can just reverse the motor on my transmitter to get these to go forward or backwards properly. Or I can also just, if I'm using a more simpler transmitter, you know, like the WPL V3, the RBC V3, then you can desolder plus and minus and turn them around to switch the polarity to change your reverse and forward motion. Everything seems to be moving freely. Nothing feels like it's binding, even though the rear drive shaft right here looks really, really close. Well, they're both really, really close, but they're still working smoothly. So it should work. Now let's get the tires on this guy. Or actually, you know what? Let's get the servo on this guy so we can connect this, hopefully. This is going to be part of my motor wire. And I'm going to be using the stock lights they come with because they're usually the nice amber color, you know, more scale, old school looking. And here's your servo tray or servo plate that goes on top of the servo to hold the servo in place. And usually I waterproof these things, but for now I'm probably not going to run this in water, so it should work the way it is for now. So you're going to need your bag in here with your servo horn. Now normally you'd turn your servo on, or you'd turn on your electronics before you install all of this, so that way you can center this on there. What I normally do is I just put it on there and I see the travel myself. As you can tell, that's a limit right there. So that usually means if I put it at 90, that should get me 90 that way. Oh, you'll fine tune this later on still, trust me. Well, there you go. It's about the same throw both ways. And I screw it in from there. We'll put that down in there in its location. And you can tell the tabs right here that normally get screwed into other RCs, those just slide into here. Like so. And make sure to tuck your wire in safely here so it doesn't hit anything or get pinched by anything right here. And then you're going to get this, which I'm glad they include. And you can tell there's a little notch right here on this side. You can see that notch right there. That goes behind this post perfectly. So it's a snug fit right there. There you go. So as you can tell in this screw bag, you're going to have these screws right here. They're not going to be as long as these ones. See that they're a little bit shorter right there? That's what you're going to want to use to install this right here. It's your servo retainer, I like to call it. It's just your servo mount. You just put those 2 screws like so. And that should be fine. So now, let's put the body together. And let's see what this whole thing looks like together. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I wanted to put the tires on as well. So let's go put the tires. This thing came with a bag of the fine threaded screws right here, which you're going to use because it's screwing into a metal piece right here. So that just installs on right there, and you're going to want to put some Loctite on that as well so it doesn't come loose on you on the trails. Now with this setup, I'm not sure if you're going to need to run wheel weights or not, because these portal axles have some weight to them, and these tires are bigger. These wheels and tire combo are bigger, so they weigh more than the regular WPL one. So you might not have to run wheel weights on this rig, considering this is the C14, which has a lighter top too. So we'll go ahead and see once we get to that stage if this truck needs it or not. But on the first run, I'm just going to run it as is, and I might put some spot little spot beads of super glue on the backside to keep the wheel from spinning on the rim, but I'm going to keep the front unglued, so that way if I do need weights in there, I can just take it out easily. The tires fit pretty nice on here, so I don't think they'll debead themselves while running. We just want to keep them from spinning on the wheel. Oh man, guys, that's a monster truck for sure with the big wheels like that. Let's get the body assembled. Oh, they're always so nice still. This one got scuffed up a little bit, but oh well. It's gonna get messed up anyway the first rollover. Some people like to paint them anyway as well, so. And if you like to do any painting, now's the time to do it and stuff, to put some detail into your truck. Then you're gonna get your steering wheel, and that's gonna go right here. It's just press fit onto there. See, it's got telescoping and tilting function built in. Then you're gonna get your glass right here. It's for the front and rear glass. Windows are open on the sides. That just slides in there like so. This goes in after it right here, and that holds it in place with two of the normal screws that you've been using so far right here. And the back piece, I forgot to put it on. You're supposed to put that on first, but that's what goes on first, this piece right here. That needs to go underneath the glass right there. Or, sorry, I'm holding it the wrong way. These two tabs right here need to go underneath the glass right there. And this needs to slide up in there for a nice fit. So you can tell it slots in there really nicely. Like so. And that you could also use two of the screws that you've been using so far up here as well. So yeah, these side steps just go on from right here, and you screw them in from the front like so. I'm going to leave mine off because I might 3D print one for this one, or just not use one at all. So right now, from here, let's put on the front end of this truck. And this goes on to here. Lines up to all these lines in here. And then just screws into those two screws right there. Same screws again, using that. So that's pretty simple kit, right? Almost every screw I've used so far is pretty similar, except for two screws, which is to hold the servo on, and one screw to hold the trunk piece on, which I'll show you later. So before I do that, I'll show you how the lenses go on. You could actually put these lenses on in there now, because as you can tell, they painted everything. They chromed out even the light buckets out for you. So now you just need to install this. And they do go in specific sides, because there's a little notch right here. Well, not really a notch, but a little shape that it needs to conform to right there. So you just put that tab into there first, and then you push this little pin part on this side. And that's pretty much it. That's how that installs. But we have the front end assembled. It's looking pretty good. And with this rig, you actually get the nice custom bumper with this one. The C24 comes with a stock bumper. This one comes with a nice off-road bumper that attaches like so on there. This looks pretty sweet. And that one just screws in right here, which would have been easier to do if I did it off the car, but it's just one screw right there to that screw right there, and that's what attaches this bumper. Now you can put some nice looking scale accessories on your bumper. Looks like they gave you 3 of them in this bag, so you get one spare shackle. But you get a little toe shackle right here. They just press fit on like so. There you go. Ooh, it just completes that look, doesn't it? Looks really sweet. That piece goes and above the tabs. And then this goes on top of that. In those same holes, and you screw it all from underneath right there. You use the ones that are a little bit longer. These ones right here, as you can tell, they're a little bit longer than these ones. That one would hold it. You get a little bit more purchase on the threads, so that'll be better. Well, there you go. We have those 2 screws installed right there. It also comes with these little lights right here. If you want to install this up here, it just snaps in place. A bit better. There's the snap I was talking about. So now it's secure. And you could also put lights on this, LED compatible. Just your seats. And just toss them in there. And there's going to be a tab back here too. You see that tab right there? That little red tab. So you see that? Getting it on there. Snapped into place. Let's go ahead and put on the door handles, the mirrors. I recommend gluing these pieces on if you really want to make them permanent, because if they do fall off on the trail, then you're going to have to go buy a set and wait a while to get them, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, glue them on and they'll be good. So same with this piece up top. I recommend super gluing this. As you can tell probably after I put this and press this in here right now, I press it in all the way. You're probably gonna see this come off during this build still. And that just goes into these two holes right here. You can glue those little tabs before you slide them into those holes. You can put glue on them so it holds it in better. And with the mirrors, I just like to put a dab of glue actually on the red part inside that square. So when this mirror sits in there, and make sure you have the correct side mirror, you can press it really well in there until the glue grabs it and hold it in place for a little bit. And that should hold the mirror nice and stable where it is, so it'll look nice when you're driving. And you can see on the handles, there's a piece that, you know, your hand goes into and stuff that obviously faces downwards. So you just line up the tabs right there and press them in. I assure you it's not that hard to press those in, but as you can tell as I press those in, the snorkel piece came off again. So I'm gonna leave it off for now so I don't lose it. But yeah, super glue that on there when you can. Now you're gonna get two of the windshield wipers. You're gonna have a spare one. These just go on here. And you can super glue those in place if you want to, but I've never had a problem with them coming off. They usually just stay there. The one piece I left out right here is when you screw this little fake, you know, diamond plating piece right here, you're gonna have to screw this on there too, and you're gonna want it to tilt rearwards like that so the wheel faces outwards when you're installing it. And it's just 4 of the same screws to hold the whole thing down, including this. And then the wheel just goes on there. And then just a regular screw, one of these. You could even use the fine threaded screw. Well, now for the simple part, the battery tray cover. That just snaps into these little tabs right here, so you guys can see those tabs. That's where these pieces go sliding into and clip into. You hear them snap when they go in. And that's it. And it just clips in place like so, and your batteries go in there. Well, now that we've done all that, I can add the stickers right here. You're gonna need 2 of these right here, and those are gonna go into those holes before you put the lenses on. So let's see if I can do this on camera without screwing it up. And you're just gonna line it up in there as well as you can so you can see the holes through it still. Like so. You can see that's all lined up nicely. And you're just gonna push it in there. And then like rub it around. If you have like your Allen wrench, it would be really nice. The one that came with your kit. Just stick it in there and try to get all the corners to stick. And this piece of the sticker actually peels off from it, but I do it really slowly, guys. Just peel it really slow, and it should leave the sticker behind. So as you can tell, I pulled that off. So yeah, now you're just gonna grab one of these lenses right here, and you're just gonna push that through, lining up the holes. And once you push it all the way through, now you have a lens that's orange inside. All right, now let's get this guy on the chassis. So we're just doing this so we can see how it looks like all together, but I obviously still need to do the electronics install and stuff. So you're gonna slide these 2 tabs right here. You see these 2 tabs? These are gonna slide underneath this tray right here because they're gonna screw in underneath the tray. These 2 tabs right here, those are gonna screw in to these empty screw holes right here where the transmission was screwed into. And then this little tab right here is what screws on to this back piece right here, with one of those screws that don't have flanges. So since I don't have the battery tray cover on here, or the servo tray cover that goes on top here, these 2 screws are what those screw into. I'm not gonna be using those for anything for now. So that way we can leave this open up here and have a lot more airflow. And I know if you wanna look more scale and stuff and you don't wanna see electronics, you might cover this part with something on the inside, like a little black Lexan or something, instead of having that whole cover covering your electronics and keeping everything hot in there. So let's slide this under there. Get those tabs lined up. So that goes there, those go there. I'm going to screw this back in and the 2 front tabs to keep the body stable on here so that I can screw in this this linkage to the servo horn, and I can get everything all nice looking for you guys so we can take a look at this truck real quick. This ball is useless in my build, and I had to go the old school route. So if you build WPLs before, you're going to know this route right here. It's going to be that rubber bushing. I took that ball out of this link, and now it's just a rubber bushing all around it, just like the old school one, with the brass insert in there, or copper insert, and then just a regular screw, one of these screws right here. It's long enough to get to the servo horn, and it's big enough to actually attach onto there. So unfortunately that's going to be the style I'm going to use. They didn't include the proper stuff to complete this kit again, but I'm happy to say you can still complete it because everything I'm using was still included in this kit. So this is the way you're going to set it up, not with that nicer, you know, ball link style. Oh man, here it is, guys. I didn't expect to like this as much as I thought I would because, you know, the big wheels and everything, and it actually all works. I mean, check it out, guys. Well, there you go, guys. The ground clearance is insane. Portal axles, look at that. Big tires definitely help with that as well. And my little mini suspension lift I did right there without screwing those all the way in. So pretty much, you got yourself a nice little lifted truck right here. Looks pretty cool, ready for some mud, ready for some action on the mountain. Alright guys, thanks for watching. And as usual, be safe out there. Until we go run this thing, go have fun out there and run that RC.